Hello everyone. In this video, I will be covering a very important topic of hydrocarbon, that is unsaturated hydrocarbon. In the previous video, I have discussed hydrocarbon, that is alkanes, everything about alkanes. I have discussed how to write down the naming of alkanes. In alkanes, we have studied about different types of carbon as well as iso, neo, sec and tert prefixes. So kindly watch my previous video. Let us start with this topic. Now, under unsaturated hydrocarbon, we have two groups, alkenes and alkynes. Okay. Now, when I talk about alkenes and alkynes, definitely we need to remember. Now, the general formula for alkenes is CnH2n, right? The general formula for alkenes is CnH2n. Now, coming to the suffix for alkene, we write it down is ENE. It is ENE. Now, common name, while writing the common name for alkenes, we are going to write it down as YLENE. The suffix will be YLENE and IUPAC name for alkene is ENE. So, simply what we are going to do is we are going to take alkane. From alkane, remove ANE and replace it with YLENE. Then I will be getting the naming as alkylene. So basically, alkylene is nothing but alkene. Alkylene is a common name or trivial system, whereas alkene is the IUPAC name. Okay. Coming to now, few more important rules while writing the naming for alkene. Now, the position of a double bond is very important while writing the name of alkene. Now, always remember students, if you are writing the position of a double bond, it should be given the lowest possible number. Now, how to write down the lowest possible number or how to write down the position, that we will be studying now. Now, coming to alkene, very first one is, this is the structure, okay? As I said, this structure is not complete structure, okay? In the previous video also, I have discussed about alkyl group. So, this is nothing but alkenyl group, okay? Now, this is not a complete structure. This bond means, the presence of this bond means it is going to be bonded to some other group. Now, we will start numbering. Now, from where we are going to number? Wherever there is this bond, okay, wherever there is this branching, because this bond, it is going to be connected to any functional group. And then the numbering, we are going to start from that side wherein the functional group is present. At the same time, the double bond should be given the lowest possible number. Okay. Now, if I look into right to left, okay, if I start numbering from right to left hand side, I'm going to write down this carbon as first carbon and this as the second carbon. Okay. So, the naming will be, the word root over here, we are going to use is eth. Now, those who don't know the meaning of word root, suffix, prefix, please go through my previous video. Now, the word root over here, I'm going to use is eth, and then the suffix, the primary suffix is en, okay, depending upon the double bond. And then this is yl, okay, this will be yl. So, the IUPAC name is called as yl. So, ethenyl is the IUPAC name. Whereas coming to common name, the common name will be vinyl group, okay, the common name is vinyl group. Now, the next one is IUPAC name for the next structure. It is 1, 2, 3. So, total 3 carbon are present. And then the numbering, I'm going to start from this side, wherever there is the branching. So, 1, 2, and 3. So, 3 carbon means prop. Then on the second and the third, between second and third carbon, there is a double bond. So, whichever is the lower position, that we are going to write down as a numbering. Okay, so between 2 and 3, we are going to consider the second position. Then it is En and then finally YL. So the entire naming, we are going to call it as what? Prop 2 enyl. Whereas the common name in this case is allyl group. Remember, vinyl is nothing but if I have a carbon which is attached to functional group and this carbon, it is sp2 hybridized. We call it as vinyl group. Whereas in this case, the branching, it is present on sp3 and in turn this sp3 is attached to sp2. So such type of group, we call it as allyl group. The next one is IUPAC name for the third one. Now coming to the third IUPAC name, the total number of carbon atoms are 1, 2 and 3. But over here, we need to write down the IUPAC name based on the branching. Now, this is not a straight chain. So whenever you come across branching, the very first one is you are going to select the chain which is containing more number of carbon. If there is presence of double or triple bond, then you are going to consider, or then you are going to count the double bond in the chain. Okay, you are going to what? You are going to include the double bond in the straight chain. So in this case, this will be 1 and then 2. Okay, because if I consider this as the chain, then this will be first carbon and then the second carbon. And this carbon will be taken outside the box or outside the chain. Now, while writing the naming, how we are going to start? The position I have written it as 1 and 2. Now the naming will be on the first carbon, there is one methyl group, then eth, okay, because there are two carbon atoms, there will be eth, then this is 1, and then ene, and then finally YL. So the naming is 1 methyl, eth, 1 ene, YL. Okay, this is the IUPAC name of the structure. Coming to the common name. Now the common name already I have discussed in the previous video. Wherever you find this particular shape, okay, this shape, or it can be the mirror image of this or the inverse of this. Okay, so something like this if you find, then this is the iso group. So in this case, I can see this is the group, and then there is branching on this intersecting point. Okay, this indicates the presence of one carbon. So basically this is the iso group, and then iso prefix we are going to write down total 3 carbon. So prop, then double bond is present, so in, and since it is a branched group, it is not the complete structure, there is a branching over here, so I'm going to write it down as YL. So basically, this is what? This is not a complete structure. As I said, this is the branched form. So we are going to write down the last one as YL. Clear? Now remember, do not get confused. Always for IUPAC name, you are going to select the longest chain. Okay. Whereas for common name, no need to select any chain. The entire structure, whatever number of carbon atoms are present, everything you are going to consider, everything you are going to count. Whereas for IUPAC, the chain, the carbon atom which is present in the chain, that you are going to write down as a parent, that as a suffix. Whereas whatever is present outside the box, we call it as substituent, that you are going to write it down as a prefix. Okay. Coming to the next one now, when I talk about the next structure, now this is the next structure. Now over here, total number of carbon atoms present are 1, 2, 3 and 4. So since 4 carbon atoms are present, then I'm going to write it down as but. Now between second and the third position is second, then En because double bond, and then YL because there is a chain, continuation chain is still present. Now for this structure, only IUPAC name I can write down. I cannot write down common name. Remember there are few exceptional cases for which we cannot write down the common name. Common name are only and only for few of the compounds, not for all the compounds we can write down. Okay, but yes, of course, IUPAC, I can write down for any type of structure. And that is the reason why we are using IUPAC name. Okay, now coming to the next one, the structures. Now, this is the complete structure. Till now, we have studied the part of a structure. Okay, now over here, we are going to discuss the complete structure. So, how we are going to start with? The very first one is look at the structure. Total number of carbon atoms are 2. So, eth, then ENE. Okay, now the position is 1 and 2. So, in chemistry, while writing the naming, while writing the position, no need to write down the position number 1. Even if you write down, no one is going to give you wrong. Okay, but it is not mandatory to write down the first position. Remember this thing. Okay, the common name, as I have already discussed, for alkene, the common name is alkylene. Okay, the IUPAC name is alkene. The common name is alkylene. So ethene can also be called as ethylene. Same way, propene can also be called as propylene. Then coming to this one, now over here again there is no branching now. Okay, so no need to put YL at the end. Over here simply it will be ENE, ENE and ENE. Coming to now the common name for these two structures. Yes, the second last and the last I can write down the common name. Now while writing the common name, students, always remember instead of the position, the numbering, the position for IUPAC, we denote it by using the numbers. Whereas for common name, we are going to use the Greek letters like alpha, beta, gamma and so on. Now over here, instead of 1, I can put alpha, 2, beta, C, that is the third one, that is gamma. Okay. So between beta and gamma, I can write it down as beta. Okay. The lower position, as I said, between beta and gamma, what we are going to consider? We are going to consider it as a beta. Same way, even if you go from right to left, the same thing you're going to get. Okay. The same thing you're going to get. Same way, coming to the last structure again I have over here is alpha, beta, gamma. No need to write down the further part. Okay, only we are interested till the double bond. Now the double bond is present between these two. So between alpha and beta, I'm going to consider alpha. So the common name will be alpha butylene. And now I'm damn sure that you know how to write down the IUPAC, right? So start writing now. Whatever I have explained you now, till now, quickly you can note it down in your notebook. Now what